G'day everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all well. We're finally back with some more videos. We've just got a tournament that's just started up, so I'm going to be going through and actually analysing some of these matches now. There've been a fair few matches from the first round, and I'm pretty much just going to go through and analyse them as the actual games themselves are playing. So we've got Sniper versus Peaky for the first game. Usually you want to bring a wall and a gen in these first two spots first. We see both players bringing in their front wall before the back wall, which is really good. Obviously we see Sniper coming in and juggling a bit, which is always going to be a little bit quicker. But pretty much everything to begin with is set up as planned. We'll see if Sniper comes in and does any blocking in this bottom rows here for row 5, row 4. Peaky getting mid set up and one extra block at the bottom, but Sniper's able to bring that one in. Again, the video will be more so like a combination of both live commentating and actually analysing as well, depending on what's happening. I believe Sniper's opting to not block off mid completely, so that we can actually have a proper game for once. Seems like Peaky's actually trying to block though, so maybe Sniper might turn it around. Sniper really needs to get up into this space to actually put a laser here to contest Peaky's as well. Meanwhile, Peaky's supering bottom, which is good. He has a pretty decent bank of energy over here as well. So meanwhile, Sniper's going top lane, trying to super that back, which does get off. Peaky would also be wanting to bring in some of these blocks while he's waiting as well to make sure that Sniper doesn't come in, and that's exactly what he does. Meanwhile, Sniper's kind of blocked off a fair bit of the top. Hopefully, you should be kind of pushing the lasers and the walls up further so that this super isn't firing basically at nothing and wasting energy. And then he has a whole bunch of blocks here so he can just fill in basically all of these spots. Peaky's not really doing a whole lot. He has a full base of energy, which means he'd want to be supering something. He'd probably want to be connecting to bottom and supering mid, but he is trying to excavate a little bit of blocking. If he can get rid of this block, that's fine, but it's not really stopping him at the moment. And again, for Sniper, I probably wouldn't be wanting to super. You definitely don't need this extra gen and laser spot, but if you get them, great. Reason being is that you usually want to connect to mid as soon as possible, and that's unfortunate that that laser didn't fire. Again, he's got an entire base of energy, plus 4 income, so makes it a bit tough. Again, Peaky still hasn't really done anything. He hasn't gone mid, he hasn't tried to super back top. Unfortunately, this is doing nothing. Sniper can just block it. It's not going to do much base energy. And not only that, Sniper doesn't need to go top anymore. Again, Peaky's not really doing much. He's wasting energy. He's now out of energy. So any kind of advantage that he had is pretty much gone. Looks like Sniper might be supering bottom and then potentially connecting to mid so he can get a super in here. He really doesn't need to win bottom because he kind of has enough. Again, he has an entire bank of energy. So he could definitely set up like a super in mid, even try and get rid of some of this pressure here from Peaky as well. Meanwhile, Peaky's still standing doing nothing. Can't recommend, unfortunately. So Sniper's finally going mid, connecting to the side that he does have connected so that it's a lot stronger and can't be destroyed as easily. He already had a few blocks set up so the connection doesn't get destroyed. Yeah, Peaky's in a really bad position. He had a fair bit of energy to begin with, but basically wasting energy on those supers doing nothing has not really helped him at all, unfortunately. So at this point the game is just over. Peaky doesn't have enough income or anything else set up. He had bottom originally, which is where he first attacked, but he couldn't actually capitalize on it because as soon as you win that lane, you want to connect. You need to win any of the lane and get to this G3 spot. As soon as you connect to mid, then you can super and laser through that. But yeah, GG's by Sniper. Again, he opted to hold off on the blocking a little bit there as well. Give Peaky a bit of a chance. Alright, the first few rounds of the tournament are also a best of 3. So potentially we could get 3 maps in here. Alright, so Peaky does get in the gen first, which is good. Start getting energy a lot earlier. But obviously you can see with juggling that Sniper's doing, it is a fair bit quicker as well. Again, good that Peaky's filling in these eye spots first before he fills in the one behind. So that way Sniper can't come in and cheese it and put something else ahead instead. Sniper going for his blocking mid. Peaky will have to make sure he gets at least another block or laser in here so that Sniper can't get in. If Sniper stuck around then he could definitely have won mid. Peaky will hopefully want to put this mid. No, he's still leaving mid open. Sniper wasting a little bit of time there. Trying to block off Peaky from putting this in, but in the opening, there's too many other things that you can be doing. Alright, so at this stage, Peaky would probably be wanting to connect to, yeah, either top or bottom to super. Unfortunately, Sniper does have a fair bit of blocking going on, so it's actually going to be hard to capitalize. You probably want to excavate a fair bit, but again, having this much energy in your base, you will actually want to be supering something. So again, Sniper would wanting to be replacing this laser with a wall that he had hanging around, just so he saves a little bit of energy. But yep, connect to mid, super mid. He has the blocking set up, so he doesn't really need to connect there. Still not really supering mid, but now he is, but Peaky does have a laser up here to try and disrupt the connection as well. But in the meantime, Sniper has actually managed to get mid off that anyway. Good super at the bottom by Peaky, but he doesn't really have the blocks or the space to actually get in and really capitalize. Again, you only need to move this far forward up to G3. You don't need those extra spots there. Sniper has definitely won enough of mid. He doesn't need to keep that super there. Definitely just replacing it with like a normal laser, and then usually want lasers in either row 6M5 or 6N7 as well. Peaky done well to super back top, but again, while you're waiting for this super, you want to be bringing blocks in, so that way you have them there ready to go once it's actually destroyed. It's not looking too bad. Again, Peaky standing doing nothing, but he's not actually gaining the ground up here. He needs to maintain his blocking so that Sniper can't get in and use this. And Sniper probably wants to swap out this laser here for this wall so that he actually has a bit more pressure there. And yeah, the other thing I was about to say is I'm not actually sure where he's getting energy from because it's not connected. So it must have been connected to bottom, but that means Peaky's been able to win this. Okay, no. I'm sorry, Peaky, but no. Especially since you had to take a gen spot to actually achieve that, you've now just lost. Mid's still weak. I guess if Sniper has the energy, you can maintain 2 supers. But again, it's not really about having this super here because you can pretty easily just be blocked in all of these spots and then you have all this real estate that you can still play with. That's why snaking the lasers up and putting more pressure is a lot harder. So Peaky has to go through 2 sets of lasers here to get back to base. But that is a GG. Alright, so well done to Sniper there. And we move on to the second match. We got Zerk versus Ghost. So 2 of our newer players as well. We've had a fair few people start to come up recently. Okay, usually you want to connect the top gen and lasers first because technically the gen spot's a bit closer to that. Again, you also want this G3 spot first, but Zerk is very quick, but again, you actually want mid first because if Ghost was quick enough, he would have been able to get in and use that as well, but I'm pretty impressed with Zerk's juggling, to be honest. He's pretty quick. Ghost getting his foundations, but again, these spots, and these spots are your very first ones that you want to be using. And again, if you're not sure how to start, watching the LazerGrrl Beginner's Guide is going to be the best possible. Goes through all the basic tips and tricks for all the beginners and basic strategies. Zerk could actually super mid here. He's in a pretty decent position, but in saying that, Ghost doesn't actually have a laser here to actually go through and super anyway. Now he does. The super in the bottom again wasn't super necessary, but it does definitely deter, so you'd want to be swapping out a gen here, connecting that then to mid, and then supering mid from there. Meanwhile, getting a laser in here to fire down here, and with the energy and the space advantage, Zerk would want to be supering top, because again, that's where Ghost is going, which is the only place he actually has energy. Another cool trick you can do as well, if you get a gen and a laser in this spot and this spot, in M and N 3 and 6, 3 and 3 rather, then that's actually going to be better because you can't ever win that back. So just a cool trick there. Again, you don't really want a super for offense. Granted, the base is taking a fair bit of damage, but most players can just simply block that. Zerg's just lucky that he has such a lead that he can pretty much do whatever he wants at this stage, and it's fine, he'll still win as long as he doesn't get sniped. But against stronger players, it won't be able to do anything. Okay, supering back is going to do absolutely nothing. Sure, it's stopping your base from getting attacked, but it's wasting energy. Usually we wouldn't triple laser, yep, because it takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of time to come back. In saying that though, it does have a lot of energy and okay. Sure, I guess for snipes it works. Well done. Yeah, typically not a triple laser. Arena doesn't quite have enough energy for it, but that's fine. Again, Zerk, top gens, then bottom gens. Very small thing, but does matter. Again, these spots, and these spots. they're all the more important ones so that your enemy can't take them and you can start bringing gens and lasers in. So as you can see, they're blocked off, so that way once you have the energy and the blocks that you need, you can actually bring them in. It's a pretty cool idea as well to connect the actual gens with the walls here to base before bringing in the lasers, because then you can actually start getting energy pretty early before you actually need to have a laser there. Nice blocking here by Zerk. Again, I'd be wanting to try and take these spots away from Ghost, just that they can't use them later. Zerk would probably be wanting to super bottom, I'd say. The only place Ghost actually has set up, but yep, nice blocking by Ghost there. Again, fortunately, Ghost does get that one spot there at I9. Unfortunately, Zerk didn't capitalize on it. Again, Zerk has a full base of energy. He'd be wanting to super, probably even excavating these two bottom blocks at the bottom as well, but nice connection to mid. Again, while he's waiting there, you want to be bringing in the blocks ready to actually connect. Unlucky trade there that Ghost almost got. Perfect by Ghost, probably starting to super back mid now, but really does have to remove those blocks. Zerk needs to really fill in this G6 spot so that mid's fully connected, because yeah, otherwise that laser just doesn't fire. Again, these supers on the 7th and 5th rows aren't really doing anything, unless Ghost just doesn't watch and gets sniped by the triple laser again. Alright, well done to Zerk. That's 2-0. Alright, third match. Him versus Stranik. Stranik's sort of a new player, but he's actually one of the slowly getting into the top ranks. Okay, perfect opening by him. Wall gen, wall gen. Perfect beginner opening. And you can see he was almost ahead there compared to Stranik. He was trying to juggle as well. So juggling something you really want to do later. Okay, unfortunately that was a waste of time. Just having one gen and a laser is enough. Okay, as you can see, Stranik getting the basics set up. Probably be wanting to either block or push this spot so that him can't take it. Stranik would want to be getting his blocking in top and then probably supering top as well, connecting bottom. Again, probably getting in mid now, that him doesn't actually have the laser in there. Swapping out his gen spots, you definitely want him to be pushing these forwards, even if you use your blocking blocks to actually do that. Again, Stranik really wants to capitalize on these spots here in mid to try and win that back. Probably pushing this block one forward as well, so that him can't actually get in to use it. Unfortunately, this is just a waste of energy. It's usually going to be blocked, and a good player will just be able to see it, so it's wasting energy. Stranik definitely needs to move this laser up here in super. Definitely now has one mid. Has one bottom lane. So match is pretty much over at this point. Just got to make sure he converts it and watches out for the snipes, because he doesn't have a whole lot of energy left. We'll need to get rid of that block in front too, just to make sure he can use it. Watch out for this super laser on top. Again, he wants to super top lane. Sure, I guess once he gets rid of this, that's fine. Doesn't really need to win bottom anymore. I'd probably be wanting to focus on top. Or make sure you at least bring in a gen ready to use this spot and this spot. You also don't really want to super mid as well. Supers aren't really good for offense. It'd be much better just to have 3 lasers for all these lanes. For 5, 6, and 7. It's a lot stronger. Nice. Again, the pressure and the advantage is just there, but there's still things you can focus on. Alright, match 2. Alright, let's see if him can execute the opening well, just like before. Oh, he's... Okay, interesting. Interesting. That's all I can say. Other than the fact that it's bad, he doesn't have this set up, so he has basically no income. Stranik could have easily just have stopped it or literally taken all of mid, which is half the reason why you don't want to stuff around in the opening, because if you lose mid, you're screwed. So even though it's like a bit off the cuff in terms of what he's actually doing, or even trying to completely block him off from base, unfortunately you just need to stick to basics, get your basics set up, get your home gens set, connect to your sides, super one of them to get enough energy, either in this I3 or I9 spot, connect to mid, and then super there. Meanwhile, Stranik he has heaps of things he could do. He could super top lane to take that. He could bring in both of these spots, both of these spots, both of these spots. Finally enough, Hume has actually gone mid, whereas mid could have been won ages ago. Stranik doesn't have any energy just because he's excavating these. I probably wouldn't worry about that at the moment. He still has space to move through. Do that later once you need to, or once you got nothing else to do. He also needs to maintain his blocking as well. Not that it's really that important. But again, you don't want to just be playing as if you're going to be playing like new players the entire time. Yeah, you can't super unless that's connected to base. So yeah, definitely for new players, you want to watch the beginner guide to begin with, or play some matches with some people who can actually teach you and tell you the basics. Stranik absolutely would need to be connecting to mid right now, because he already has it connected. He's already won bottom. There's a space there, and perfect. So you can see here this G3 spot, that's as much as you need to win on a lane, because you get 1 extra energy and they get 2 less essentially, especially since they need to use a laser and a gen. So Stranik would now be wanting to bring in a bunch of blocks so he can start winning mid, because he already has. You just need to win this much and then either put a laser in one of these spots, because they can't utilize 1 gen spot, you're already using 2, the pressure, and then you take that time to go elsewhere. Definitely... Okay, one of these gens and lasers has got to go up here. This is not too bad. This used to be an old strat once you win mid, so that you still get the 3 lanes. But problem is, once they start to super this back, they're actually starting to win a bunch more blocks. As well as that, you're taking too much space that they can block, and you want to constrict them up further. Alright, GG's. 2-0 again. Alright, and our last set of matches, Chromium and Krixz. Again, Krixz is one of our newer players as well, and we finally see Infinity as the map. The maps are actually a pick ban phase, so we have 5 different maps for the tournament that we're currently using. Arena, as you just saw. We've got Infinity, Micro Battle, and then 2 newer ones, Temple and Rink as well. So players take turn to ban maps, and then they play whatever's left in a best of, at the moment, best of 3. You definitely want to be taking these 2 spots in mid, because otherwise Chromium could just use his own block to take that and then basically win mid. Infinity is a very different map in terms of strategy. Not only that, I'm not the strongest in Infinity. The best player in the game, Imus, he actually made this map and he's ridiculous at this. You'll pretty much never lose. We were definitely wanting to be getting the foundations set up for both of these spots in terms of Chromium. This laser here is doing absolutely nothing. It's firing at nothing, easily blocked. Oh, okay. Hold on. What happens? Chromium stuffing around top. Krixz trying to bring in a gen. Finally gets it. Brings in a laser. Trying to juggle it. Not trying to juggle it, leaving it there. Okay. Chromium just walks into a laser. That works. Okay, recommendation. Don't walk into a laser. Anyway, let's run that back. Base gen set up, block mid, and then these are your spots you want to go. Basically, for each of your lanes, you want a gen and then a laser firing here so you can protect that lane. And then you want a gen and a laser actually firing here to attack the enemy's home gen. Once that's set up, and obviously making sure you get mid, you want to make sure you get your blocking in. You want to connect to here, connect to base. Sorry. And then probably supering. If it's not Infinity, you get a heap of energy. Again, this is doing nothing. You either want to put it here, attack their lane, or put it here, attack their gen. Same with this one, not doing a whole lot, unfortunately. At least it's targeting the base, but again, base damage is also almost nothing you want to actually go for. Chromium could definitely push up here and take these spots, but playing it safe, I guess. Krixz not too bad, definitely want to get your blocking in mid still strong. Infinity is a bigger map, so it's not as important. You don't play on the enemy's side a whole lot. That was a waste of time. And again, this is usually why you want to kind of avoid trying to trap the other player. If you're just going to end up using a laser anyway, you may as well slowly inch it forward or intend on utilizing it straight away. Supering mid's not too bad. He has the room to use it, but I probably wouldn't have opted for losing top. I would have just spent a bit more time to win top and then go mid. Because mid's not that strong in Infinity as much. Chromium has one mid now. Looks like Krixz is going to super it back, which is okay. Again, I almost want to really put this laser right in this front spot here to try and get rid of some of that space. He'd probably want a super top. Yep, which he is. Then connect to base and super. Again, this is not doing anything. We do not want these lasers here. They're just wasting energy. Same with this one here. Don't want those there. Again, Krixz needs a laser here. Attack the gen spot. Probably wants to connect bottom and super, but you can actually bring in a laser and a gen in these two spots and just stop that. Alright, he's successfully excavated mid, but does have a fair bit of pressure. Oh, sorry. This is what happens when you don't make videos for 4 years, and then you come back and try and commentate for half an hour straight. Alright, Chromium has now successfully connected and one top. He's pretty much connected bottom. Again, we want to laser down this lane to put pressure on this gen spot. It's not hard to defend, but because the map's so big and there's so much to think about, it does lose track and then you'll lose your energy. Again, Krixz kind of stopped the pressure in mid, but he didn't end up actually like lasering mid to actually stop any of this happening. So it doesn't even really matter that Chromium doesn't have a laser here because Krixz isn't attacking it. Granted though, it is hard to connect and actually use to do that. Okay, Chromium is finally starting to push everything up and use his advantage, which is good. So, yeah, I mean, the match has been over ages ago, but again, there's always still things you can improve on. And not only that, but if you're versing a good player who knows what they're doing, then they could easily come back at some points. This is way too far going, but again, it's always good to think about strategies. Probably be good, like again, if you're Chromium, the match is over, but again, maybe trying to win this gen spot at the very bottom might be helpful. Let's see if I can grab another color that might be a bit easier to see now that we're on the last couple of matches. What are you thinking? Is green going to be visible enough? Meh. Grand's terrible. What else we got? What's your favorite color? Leave it down in the comments. Okay, that's terrible as well. I'm sure this match will be over very soon. That'll do. And GG from Chromium. So fortunately it's a best of 3, because otherwise Chromium would have just been out in the first like 5 seconds. So down to the 3rd match now. Again, it's cool to finally have LazerGrrl back, have a tournament going and a bunch of new players as well. Alright, opening gen set up. Home spots blocked. Again, for new players, you just want to get the basics down before you start juggling. Again, it's just going to waste time and you're not actually going to learn the game. Perfect by Chromium, blocking all these 3 spots. Usually I want to bring in this first laser and gen before I swap these ones at the front, which is good. Again, Chromium does not put the laser down the bottom lane. That block this, laser down here. And again, I'm usually not talking too much about the mechanics. Like, obviously it can take players a while to like swap blocks around, but that's just something that you get with time. But juggling is a main one because that's an active decision to try and do that, where it's just going to take up so much time. Okay, so Chromium definitely would want to put that laser here, put this laser here, and then he's good. Again, you don't really care about these 2 middle spots because they should be blocked anyway. Not too bad by Krixz, but once he's won these spots, he should really be gaining them. So he's kind of standing around doing nothing, waiting. You want to be bringing blocks in while you're doing that. That doesn't do anything. I see the vision. You want to connect it to the bottom gen so you can actually be firing along here. Unfortunately, that also doesn't do anything. That only works if the other player actually has this connected to destroy their connection. However, you're using 1 energy so that they don't get an energy. So it actually also doesn't really help that much. And that also doesn't do anything. Again, neither player has actually used these 2 spots up here, which is the whole reason Krixz actually went and used it. Not only that, if he just takes out this laser and just removes it, then he won't be wasting an energy. And like, again, he's not gaining anything by keeping this here if he's not going to use it. Or alternatively, bring in a gen and then push this laser forward. Do exactly what Chromium did. Again, Chromium has full base of energy. He has, we'll say top and bottom setup. It's good enough. Supering bid, nice trade. Taking a bunch of pressure. Unfortunately, it is pretty lost. Krixz would probably want to quickly super top, get these 4 spots. That way he can start putting pressure back on Chromium's base. Once he's won that, he will want to super mid. Again, this laser needs to come down this spot. So there are options. He does have half a bank of energy. Chromium's still kind of stuffing around. He hasn't really made much of his advantage. I would suggest for him definitely getting these 2 extra spots. Just while he's waiting, get that slight bit of advantage. Again, you can kind of play around on your own map, own side of the map a fair bit, where it's pretty safe. You don't really have to worry about snipes or what the other player's doing, and he has enough pressure that he doesn't really have to worry about what Krixz is doing. Alright, he's finally got rid of that laser, which means he'll finally get some more income. Definitely wants to super mid. It is a bit hard to connect to it because he's completely lost top and he's getting attacked at bottom, so... Doesn't have too much health left either. He could probably get a snipe here on Chromium. Oh, if he blocked him there, that probably would have been over. That is rather unfortunate. And then in doing so, he's actually just trapped himself. Wow. That could have gone the whole way too. So very impressive. Well, that was some good matches there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis. Once the tournament progresses a little bit further, then we'll start to get some more matches. Also, keep an eye out for my match against Chromium as well. It'll be a short video, but I hope you enjoy. Catches.